Hey, everyone. Welcome to the latest podcast episode. This is your host, Terry Knight, and this guy is very special. He has founded over hundreds of businesses, knows how to run successful businesses, and also buys and sells real estate. So, I mean, you do everything, man. So, I just want to be an ear in the room and hear what your story is and any gems you can give, man. So, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I try to do. I do a few things. I do definitely a lot of real estate, a lot of business, a lot of lending. Those are probably the three things. I don't know
Lending.
much about anything else, but those three, yeah, I do a lot.
Well, those are the most important ones. I mean, geez. I mean, if you really think
Yeah,
about it. So, Abraham, man, let people know who you are, man, and we'll go from there.
yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm Abraham Gray. I turn 50 next year, so
Mm.
been around for a little while. Started making money in my teenage years, and have just grown it, ever since. Getting into more stuff. So I probably lately have been doing more real estate and lending than anything, although
Hmm.
I still buy more businesses every year and do a lot of that as well. But I'm probably the most active in real estate and lending. I have a few hundred properties and always fix and flipping as well.
Cool, man. Well, first and foremost, man, you're almost 50, so congrats to that. You've been around for a long time, so you know what you're doing. You're not just some 18-year-old coming out and just saying, "Oh, I do all this stuff."
Right.
You mentioned that you have over 100, I guess, properties. Is it a mix of like multifamily, single family? Like, what's that portfolio
I
looking
would
like?
say I would say 90 some percent single family. I have
Oh,
about
wow.
300 properties that are like rentals, and yeah, I have a little bit of multifamily, but I used to have some bigger ones. I didn't like them. Now I have some like stuff that's under 20 doors. I have a bunch of like eight plexes, six plexes, four plexes, stuff like that. But I mainly focus on single family.
Single family. And
I,
why is
I,
that?
own, I own I own some shopping centers, some warehouse space, some office buildings, but that's like a small percent of what I do.
Holy crap. So what I guess everyone's different, right? I know people that do multifamily only, you do single family, that's your focus.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Why do you like that, I guess? What's your
Single family
reasoning?
is the funnest for me because I'm not a very patient person. And with like multifamily, especially bigger multifamily and commercial, you buy it to own it for a long time. When I say a long time, usually it's 5 years plus. With single family, you could turn stuff right away. Like if you want to sell it next month or a few months or whatever it is, it's very easy to sell single family fast.
Hmm.
Multifamily, you're pretty much just more of a long term thing. It could be as profitable, more profitable, less profitable, but it's just a totally different strategy.
Okay, cool, man. Well,
And with
Abraham.
multifamily and stuff like that, you're
Hmm.
you're raising a lot of capital typically. I like using mostly all my own money. So I mean, everything I own, it's basically all my own money. And as I make more money, I just put it into more and more properties.
Well, let's talk about that, man, because I think everyone like thinks you have to have money. I mean, you do, but for real estate, how the heck did you even start? Like, did you have money saved up, man? Did you get a lender to give you money? Like, what was the whole process when you first
Yeah,
got your first rental?
I started business when I was 15. So I made a lot of
Mm.
money before I got into real estate. I got into real estate when I was 22, and at that point, I had a lot of money, so I just used the first things I bought were a property to live in myself, and
Hmm.
then some rental properties. So I had to put down, like 20%, whatever. So I had that money, and from there, I started buying more rental properties, and I got into some fix and flips. I just always used my own funds for that. Although you don't have to. 90 some percent of people I know borrow money. I mean, I lend money to people for fix and flips and stuff like that. So you definitely don't need any money. I know plenty of people that make good money using other people's money, but if you have plenty of extra money, then you might as well use it. If you want to do more stuff than the money you have, then yeah, then you could borrow it. It's easy to borrow money to do deals if the deals are really really good. If you're trying to borrow money for deals that aren't good, it's going to be hard to borrow money.
Exactly. You mentioned you started working when you were 15, man. What type of job were you doing that time, making all that money?
Yeah, so I collected sports cards my whole life, and I turned that into a business when I was 15. So I started selling them, and then started setting up at baseball card shows, and I did that from like 15 all the way to like 22, 23 years old. And sort of in my early 20s, Beanie Babies became popular at these baseball card shows. So I kind of started doing Beanie Babies and baseball
Hmm.
cards. Eventually got out of baseball cards, went into Beanie Babies. There was a lot more money in it at the time. And from there, just went to different businesses. And, just now I have all kinds of different businesses.
Holy crap! You said Beanie Babies, right? I remember that just by
It
you
was like the
saying it.
hottest thing back in the late 90s. So
It
like
was.
1997 is when I started. And I mean, 97, 98, 99 was crazy, and the early 2000s as well. So that's how I made a ton of my money back then.
Holy crap! So being like 15 all the way up to 22, when I was that age, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't working until I was like 17, but I was just hanging out with friends, playing basketball, like kid stuff.
Yeah.
What made you pivot and say, "Man, I don't have time for that. I want to, start my business, learn about the real world stuff, kind of focus on that part." What made you kind of pivot?
Yeah. So, growing up, I had like a kind of a weird childhood. I kind of left my parents when I was younger and went to a bunch of different foster families and boarding
Mm,
schools and different things like that. And I always had people totally in control of me. Like whatever they told me I had to do, I had to do it. And it kind of sucked. I never like listening to people. I was a big troublemaker. Like I didn't listen to people, but I had to some degree. And as I started having a little bit of money, making money, I was able to not listen to people as much because I had my own money, which gave me the power to do what I wanted. So I just kind of got addicted to making more money and not having to listen to people and being able to do what I want because I had the financial means to do it. So I just wanted to get to a point where I had enough to where I could do what I want.
wow, man, that's pretty deep. Um, wow, I didn't know that part about you jumping around when you were young. Like for
Yeah.
someone being so young, man, like kudos to you having that mindset and just kind of pivoting and keep your head straight and just kind of focusing on the end goal, man. And look at you, you
It's
just
actually weird for me. Like I remember how I was when I was 15 and 16 and 17. And I see how like most kids are now that are 15, 16, 17. I'm like, I wasn't like anything like any of these kids.
yeah.
Although once in a while I do see a few 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that are very similar to the way I were
Mm.
back when I was that age. But yeah, it's not many. I'm surprised like more people don't want to be more, make more money and have a better life, or they don't see how they can do it at that age. But I guess something that when I was that age it hit me that just didn't hit everybody else.
Yeah, of course, man. And look at you, multi-millionaire, successful on all levels. But look, man, you have all these businesses, and I think I kind of want to deep dive into that because it's already hard enough starting one business. You
Yeah,
got many, like many, many. Like how many do you have in total as of today?
I mean I probably own right now like in the over 30, but I've
Over
had
30,
hundreds over the years, and
over
a
at
lot of them
100.
I've sold or closed or whatever. But yeah, I mean it's not that hard. I mean you don't open 30 at a time. You get one and you do well, then you grow it, and then you do more. So yeah, you can't open up multiple at the same time. You'd have too much to do, and you would fail. But I had one business, my best business, where I had over 300 locations. People were like, "How do you have 300 locations?" Well, it's
Ooh,
impossible. But I opened up one, then I had three, then I had five, then I had 10, and I just grew and added the staff as I needed, and eventually I had 300. But yeah, it's impossible to get to that number from zero. So you just gotta build everything up, no matter what you're doing. And anything you're really good at, you weren't that good at it in the beginning. You got to where you didn't suck, and then you suck less, and you were a little bit okay. Then you actually started getting good. Then you started getting great, and that's kind of the same theory with anything.
yeah, being consistent, man. I totally agree. So 300 locations, that's mind blowing in my eyes. I mean, yeah, you start little, you start small.
Yeah.
What made you think to get to your second and your third initially, though? Was it the staff that you had to put in place? Was it the cash flow?
Well,
Like
they were
what?
making so much money that I had a lot of extra money to expand.
Mm,
So I was like, yeah, I'm only going to expand and use my profits to expand. And luckily, these businesses did so well that I was able to just use the profits. And then, of course, I had to have the right staff. So, every single time I grew, I had to add more staff and different managers and different tiers of managers, stuff like that. So, as I learned a lot as I did it. I'm sure I made mistakes and got better at it as I grew.
Okay. Well, Abraham, what's ideal for someone to build a business though, man? Like what does it take to be successful in it?
So I would say building a business is probably not the best thing for most people. I would say that buying somebody else's business that already
Mm,
is successful is what makes the most sense for 95% of people. It's a lot easier for a lot of reasons. First off, you're already buying a successful business. You could see the numbers over the last 5, 10, 20 years. It already has all the staff in place. It already has somebody there that knows everything that could train you and teach you everything you don't know. It already has the customers, already has the suppliers, and it's a lot easier to fund it too. When you're starting a business from scratch, you have to either use your own money or get investors. It's a lot tougher to get banks and stuff because it's not proven. But if you were to buy someone's business, it's a lot easier to get bank loans and all these other things to buy their business. You could probably, get into other people's business with 10% down or really close. And from there, you could. What I like to do is once I buy a business, is buy all my, a lot of competitors and stuff like that, and grow that way instead of just with marketing. Right? You could grow with marketing, but that's expensive and slow. Or you could just buy competitors and double your business overnight, and that's what I like to do.
all right, cool, man. I actually like that approach. I talked to someone else that had the same mindset, but what you mentioned buying businesses. What's the criteria for that in your eyes to sit there and say, "Hey, I want to
Yeah.
buy a cash flowing business"?
Yeah, the most important thing is buy a business that's making enough money to where you're buying a business and not a job.
Mm,
Typically, minimal, I would say 150,000, 200,000 a year profit, right?
hmm,
Um, I would say so. I don't. I try not to buy any businesses that aren't making at least 150, 200,000 a year profit. Another thing is making sure that they've been around for 5 to 10 years and have a good track record. I want to make sure that the owner that I'm buying the business from isn't the person that is the main person in the business, because if they leave, the business goes to shit. So I want to make sure they have a good management team in place, and a lot of good employees and all that stuff in place. I try to keep everything the way it is because I'm buying it because of its success. I want to keep the success with the same people. I'm going to change things and try to grow it and make it better, but very gradually, like not a whole big lot of big change, right in the beginning. So those are probably the main things: how much money it's making sure that the person you're buying it from is not a crucial part of the business, and making sure it's been around for a long enough time to where it has a good track record. It's going to be safe. Most businesses go out of business within the first year or first few years
mm.
for sure. They're almost all gone. So, if you have a business you're buying that's been open 10 years plus, it's pretty stable. It's probably going to be pretty good. I like stuff. I mean, 10 years or longer is what is ideal, but I would say at least 5 years or longer, or else it's kind of more risky.
Yeah, but uh, is there a certain industry people should stay away from versus focus on in your eyes? Because there's so many
Yeah, I
businesses
think
out there.
people should 100% stick to businesses that they have some experience in, that they enjoy doing. They have friends that could help them with it. Like there's certain things I know nothing about. I very rarely will buy a business in something like that because it's a lot tougher. I mean, you could buy that, but it's better if you have some experience, you enjoy it or know about it. It'll just make a lot easier for it to be profitable and successful. So the answer is it's going to be different for every type of person, right?
Hmm.
The stuff that I buy might not be right for you. The stuff that you should buy might not be right for me. There isn't a business out there that's total crap, and there's not a business out there that is like the best business that like everyone should buy that business. Meaning that no matter what industry you're in, the best people in that industry are going to make a ton of money, and the people that aren't good in that industry are going to lose money. It can be the best industry that you think that is the best industry. There's people that lose money in that industry because they don't know what they're doing. And then
Hmm.
there's industries you think, oh, this is a horrible industry. Nobody makes money. It's terrible. The people that are really good in that industry make a ton of money, even in the worst
Hmm.
industries. But the people that aren't good are going to lose money. So you just got to be the best in whatever you're doing.
Yeah, that's true, man. What happened to you in COVID? Like, how did you guys pivot? You had about a lot of businesses at that time.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure that was like overwhelming for you being a business owner. You have to figure out all these different puzzles
Yeah,
and
so we
scenarios.
pivoted. I mean, some businesses took a major hit for a little while. Some came back. Some haven't come back all the way. A lot of businesses I sold. A lot of the businesses I had during COVID, I sold during COVID for like cheap, just because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to own everything and then all close, and I didn't want sell everything because if stuff did turn around, so I kind of hedged my bets and sold the ones I thought made the most sense to sell. But like I have a whole bunch of gyms, so they were shut down for a little while. I mean, we did a lot of online stuff, we did like different virtual stuff. I had a lot of entertainment. Entertainment probably took the biggest hit because you couldn't go out.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it I shut down. But luckily, the government did a lot of crazy things for businesses. So a lot of the money that we lost or didn't make, we got a lot of PPC
Mm-hmm.
money, and we got like EIDL loans and all these different things to where it didn't affect us as bad as it could have. But either way, whether we got those or not, we still would have made it. But like I said, I sold some. We got a lot of government grant type stuff, and we ended up being okay everywhere.
Cool. Cool, man. Um, you're managing 30 plus businesses. Like, how does that look like? I'm trying to imagine that for you as a CEO, a business owner. How do you manage all those businesses day to day, and how do you handle that? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
so
know, like,
I don't really own probably any businesses 100% myself. I mean, maybe a
mm,
couple, but like 95% I have partners. So each of our partners have different roles. So most of my businesses I have like two partners. So it's
okay,
three of us. And I'm the one that like finds the deal, negotiates the deal, does the underwriting, does, the talking and all that stuff in the beginning. But then once we buy it, I have another partner that's in charge of all the operations. So they're in charge of all the managers, and they talk to the general manager of each business multiple times a week and make sure everything's going right. We look at the P&Ls, the profit and loss statements, every single month to
mm,
see how they were month over month, year over year, to see if anything looks weird or doesn't look weird. And then we make adjustments based on that. And then I have a third partner that handles the accounting, the legal, the different strategy stuff, some of the marketing. So between the three of us, we all do what we enjoy doing. We all do what we're best at, and it works. And nobody has to do everything. Like every business has different characteristics that you have to be in charge of. And if you have to do everything, you're gonna not be doing stuff that you enjoy all the time because people don't like everything.
mm.
So it's best to either have partners that you could give the stuff you don't like to, or have really good managers in place that can do that stuff.
Cool, man. No, I like that having partners. Would you say it's fair enough to have equity equal across the board if you have three or four business partners
Well, it's going
involved?
to depend on what each person's role is and how much money they put in the beginning.
Mm,
All my partners, at this point, we have enough money to where money's not a
an
big
issue.
issue for anyone. But pretty much, if you want 20%, you put 20% of the money in. You want 50%, you put 50% of the money in. Whatever else. So some of my partners were a third, third, and a third. Some were 40-40-20. Some were 50-40-10. It just depends on how much
Mm.
time they have to put into it and how much money they wanted to invest in it.
Okay, cool, man. You mentioned buying out competitors. Like, how do you normally do that? Do you just like, I don't know, Google and see if they're for sale? Like, what's the whole
Yeah,
process
so
with them?
90%, definitely 80% of what I buy are not on the market. So
Mm,
mostly what I buy is off market. So what we do is, yeah, we'll start off with Googling every single business in that industry in the areas that I'm interested in, and we'll put a spreadsheet together with every single business, their address, their phone number, the owner's name, all that. And then we'll have VAs call them all. We'll send out like this really cool letter campaign I have. So we send letters to everyone.
mm,
Uh, Sometimes we'll stop by and talk to them, and we see who's interested, and we kind of work a bunch of different offers to see which one makes sense for them. Do they want like a lower price and most of the money up front? Do they want a higher price but very little of the money up front? And somewhere in between. And that's kind of how we do our offers, and how we reach out to all our competitors, and we get a lot of good response.
oh wow, yeah, I hear a lot about off-market deals. Like, don't go to like buybizsell.com and these places because those are not
So I
the.
buy some stuff on there too, but
Mm-hmm.
99% of the stuff on there is crap. And the reason why is because most of those people have brokers,
Mm-hmm.
And the brokers told, get the listings. They tell them, look, your business is going to sell for $10 million, and you're getting all the cash up front, and it's going to be easy to sell. And that's not realistic. Very few businesses sell like that. So I would say that all the businesses I buy out Biz Buy Sell that have been successful have been ones that have been listed for 9, 12 months, 15 months, or longer. The
Oh
first
wow.
6, 9 months of businesses listed is very tough to buy because they believe the brokers saying they're going to get all this money and all this other stuff. They're not as motivated yet. Once,
Mm-hmm.
once, once it gets to the 9, 10, 12 months, they get super motivated. They're like, okay, my broker's full of shit. I don't believe him. I can't get what he said. I'm not. No one's making me offers, and that's the reality. Like with real estate, if you have a property, you'll get offers, no matter what. At some price, you're going to get offers. On businesses, there's 90%, 80% of businesses never get an offer at any price just because it's there's not as many people buying businesses. Everyone buys real estate, compared
Mm-hmm.
to business.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Uh, are you guys using SBA loans or just straight up buying the businesses?
I don't use SBA loans that much, but I do have a couple of partners that I'm partnering with some deals on that will use an SBA loan, and
Mm-hmm.
it's probably like a very small percent of the deals I do, but I will do some deals with my partners getting SBA loans on some of the deals. I mean, it's great to get an SBA loan because they'll pay for 90% of the purchase, so you only have to come
Mm-hmm.
up with like 10% of the money, and even that 10%, you can get the owner to finance 5 or potentially even all 10% of it, so you can get into some businesses for nothing up front with your own money. But
That's true.
when you get an SBA loan, it takes a long time. I mean, I've seen like 4 months plus
Mm-hmm.
with all the paperwork and stuff, which is okay. But you have to personally guarantee it. It's just a drawn out process. Where if you can just do deals where you get some owner finance and some other creative, things that I do with different ones that I buy, you could get the deal done really fast. Within a week, a month. Definitely a couple months, and you get them done really fast, and you don't have to come up with much money of your own because you have different strategies of how you come up with money. But it's going to all depend on how motivated the seller is and how
Mm-hmm.
good the business is, how bad you want it.
You said a week. Is that
Yeah,
possible? Like,
hundred
have you done
percent
that?
possible.
Have you
I
done that?
could I could buy your business tomorrow, today. We just have to draw up a contract, and that's it. Sign it. I mean, there's nothing else you have to do. If we're buying a deal and I don't have to do any due diligence on it, then I could buy it today. If I have to do
Mm-hmm.
some due diligence, then as soon as the due diligence is over, I could buy it. Now, if you get loans and SBA loans, stuff like that, it's going to take months
Mm-hmm.
because there's a ton of due diligence, and then there's the lenders have a whole bunch of stuff they have to do. But if you're not getting a loan from like an institution, you could buy someone's business right away.
Well, seller financing probably, right? I mean, most
Yeah, I
likely
mean,
for.
seller financing would be a big part of it, but you could do part seller financing, part your own money, part there's a bunch of
Mm.
different strategies.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Um, Abraham, you said you're turning 50, right? Do you have any kids?
3.
3 kids, and how old are they?
16, 15, 16, 14, and 12.
16, 14, and 12, right? All right. And obviously, you're very successful in real estate and businesses, man. You're great all overall. What do you want to teach your kids, man, to make sure they can kind of pass on the torch and
And
take what you're
they
learning and go forward?
I kind of teach them like a little bit about what I do and to see what they're interested in. But they're all still kind of in school and younger, so I figure once they're done with high school, they'll see the different things a little bit more and kind of see what makes sense for them and see what they want to do. They all say they want to do the same stuff I'm doing, but once they come here, they'll see what exactly is more fun or more interesting for them.
Gotcha. No, that's pretty cool, man. What's your plan for the rest of the year? We still, I think, halfway
Yeah,
to
I
the year.
mean, same. I don't really have anything. I kind of go on trips every month or so with the family or kids or friends and stuff, and just keep trying to grow the businesses and have fun and go to the gym. I do some jiu-jitsu every week, a few days a week. Just kind of live life, relax.
Relax, cool, man. You mentioned you used to live in Miami and you live in Atlanta now.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a preference in Atlanta as far as the great spots people should visit while they go there? or
To
do
visit
you?
if you're tourist, or to live if you move here. I mean, there's a lot of cool spots to go see if you're here. I mean, we have Stone Mountain's a really famous place that everyone should go if they're visiting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool things in downtown Atlanta. There's like a Coke Museum. There's aquariums. We have Six Flags here. We have different hiking trails, mountains, lakes. It just depends on what you like. We have
Mm-hmm.
some cool comedy clubs. We have different cool amusement parks and different entertainment stuff to do. But it really depends on what you like to do. I mean, we have there's I'm not into NASCAR, but we have like NASCAR tracks here. Where there's the Hawks, the Braves. We have the Falcons. So it depends. Like I said, what you like.
Okay, cool, man. Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
I did want to ask one final question.
Mm-hmm.
And it's lastly, what keeps you going every day when you want to give up, man? When it was in the beginning, middle, now, whatever it could be.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all the times in the past that you felt that way, and what would happen if you gave up then, and where you're at now, and just see like the improvement. So you look at that. But honestly, the thing that I look at the most is I look at like all these other people in the world that I know that are so much less fortunate than myself, and like they keep going every day. Like, why shouldn't I? Like, it doesn't make any sense. No matter how good off you are, there's always people better. No matter how bad off you think you are, there's always people way worse.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month and you think everything's going wrong and everything sucks, just think about all the people that have it so much worse than you and how much better you have it than them. And that's pretty much the motivation that always gets me going. Because, yeah, I mean, obviously you get in these down, these times where things aren't going right. And no matter how bad it is, you're like, you know what? It's still way better than off than these other people.
Yeah,
So keep
exactly.
going.
Love it, man. I love it. Abraham, you teach people to do the same thing, man. Buy, sell real estate,
Uh-huh.
create, buy businesses, man.
Yeah.
What's the best place for people to kind of reach out, man, learn more, and see how you can help them?
I mean, just follow me on all the social medias. I have a YouTube channel, Abraham Gray, Gray. I have, Instagram, Abraham Gray Official, Facebook, you know, but just follow me, reach out, message me, and, we talk. But I do get different events every few months where I teach
Mm.
people how to buy businesses, teach people how to loan money safely and make the most money out of it. I do tons of real estate events locally every month.
Mm.
So yeah, if you follow me on social media, you'll see all that stuff.
Cool, man. Guys, you heard it here first. One more thing, Abraham. You mentioned jujitsu. Is that
Yeah,
what you do?
yeah.
My wife's been talking about that because we have a almost 2-year-old son. And what's your take on that? The whole thing like that? Like,
I,
what's the
I love I
pros and
love
cons
jujitsu.
and all that
I've
stuff?
I've been doing jujitsu for like 13 years. I started doing karate when I was a young kid. I started karate like 30 years ago, but
Hmm.
jiu-jitsu is cool. I mean, like I would be way more out of shape if I wasn't doing it. So it keeps me in shape. It's fun. It's a fun way to keep in shape. I mean, the friends that you meet while you're doing it is amazing. You have like a group of like-minded people that want to stay healthy, that have a good healthy lifestyle, and you get a lot of really good friends and your self-confidence. Like if you're in a bad area and somebody messes with you, you feel a lot better that you can defend yourself, or help other people that need defending themselves. So it's good all the way around. But if anything else, it's just a good workout and that's fun.
Okay, cool, man. I love it. I love it. Well, guys, you heard it first. The great Abraham Gray. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to me or him. I'll have his links below. And Abraham, man, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I'll see you later.
All right. Later, everyone.